What is good, YouTube? My name is George. Welcome back to the second channel. People ask me on a regular basis how I edit my Instagram photos. I remember not too long ago scrolling on Instagram and being like, how the hell do people make their photos look so damn good? And I figured it out. I've got it down to a science. It's very easy. I edit all of my photos with the same formula, and I think it makes a huge difference. So in this video, I'm going to be teaching you how I edit my Instagram photos for a good vibe and aesthetic. And let's get right into it. I'm going to teach by example using this photo, and I'm going to turn it into this. Alright, so we're going to be using the Darkroom app, which is my personal favorite for editing photos on my iPhone. So just find your photo in the library in Darkroom, and the first thing we're going to do is click this icon at the bottom, and these are the default filters in Darkroom. So I always use the A100 filter. So you can change the intensity of the filter, and usually what I do is I just find a nice starting point for this photo. I don't want to make it too extreme. I just trust my instincts. There's usually a nice spot right here. It's going to be around 75, 80, and already the photo is looking a lot better. Then I'm going to go to the main adjustments, and for every single photo I just tinker around with a few main adjustments. Starting with the brightness, I'll usually bump this up just a little bit. 5 is looking good right now. Sometimes I mess with the contrast, and if I do, it's usually a very minimal adjustment. I very often bump the shadows quite a bit. In this photo you can see the buildings in the background are looking kind of dark. If I bump the shadows, you'll notice that a lot more details come out of those buildings. So in this photo, I think I'm going to leave that at around 20. Then I skip down to the vibrance, and I almost always increase this. As you can see, that makes a huge difference in the photo. You definitely don't want to go overboard with the vibrance. The same is true for all of these adjustments. And again, I just kind of trust my vision here. I think it looks pretty good at around 20. I also always mess with the temperature and tint. So for temperature, in this case, this photo was shot in the winter. I'm going to make it a little bit cooler at -20 towards the blue side, and for tint I always bump it towards the purple side. In this case, we're going to go just a little bit at -5. So if you hold your finger there on the screen, you can see the before and after, and already this photo is looking freaking incredible. The only other thing that I sometimes mess with is the grain. The grain can add a nice film-like aesthetic, a little bit of a retro vibe to your photo. You can see what it looks like as you drag. I think I'm going to pop this one around 30, and yeah. That's it. Here's the before, here's the after. That photo is popping. It is significantly more visually appealing if you look at the before and after, which is kind of mind-blowing considering that that literally took about 5 minutes or less. And then what I like to do is just modify the original, so it will literally save the edited photo on top of the other photo. You don't even have to deal with duplicate photos in your camera roll. Gonna modify that, and then you're good to post it on Instagram. This is literally the method that I use for every single photo that I post on Instagram. Just to make the point, I'm going to show you the exact same method on one more photo. So here's a photo of my friend Danny on the subway. It's pretty yellow, it's not very crisp. All around it just looks pretty flat, and if I posted this on Instagram, it wouldn't look very good. So let's freaking transform this photo. We're going to use the exact same method, so let's start off strong with the A100 filter. Again, this is just our foundation. We don't want to go too crazy with it. This one looks pretty good, just eyeballing it. Somewhere around 75. Then we're going to go into the main settings. Again, we're going to start with the brightness, bump that up a little. It's looking like around 15 looks good. And when you're doing this with your own photos, literally just drag that slider around and see how the photo responds. Usually you'll kind of get a gut feeling like, oh, that looks right, and you want to trust that instinct. Contrast is already looking pretty good on this photo. I think we're going to leave that one at 0. Like I said, shadows is one that I mess with a lot, and in this photo there are a lot of particularly dark areas, so let's start to bump those, and you can see we're getting more details there. I think around 30 looks good. Next, we're moving on to vibrance as per usual. Around 25 looks nice. Don't want to go too extreme. Let's actually make it around 30. So temperature and tint are going to make a huge difference in this photo. As you can see, it's extremely like orange and yellow. If we drag this cool slider down, that gives it a whole different feeling. And I actually think I'm going to leave that all the way towards the blue side. It's looking a lot better. And let's make that a little bit red. Look at that before and after. It's kind of freaking insane. With the temperature looking better, I think I'm gonna bump the vibrance even further. Check the before and after, it's looking insane. I definitely think this photo is gonna benefit from a grain, so let's add that. Something like 40. And look at that. Let's go a little more on the shadows. This is literally my process after I go through all of those adjustments. I just kind of sometimes go through again, make some tweaks till the photo just kind of looks right. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that photo now. Maybe just the brightness just a little bit. Subtle difference really when you're looking at the before and after. But in my opinion, it goes from like a pretty ugly photo to pretty good photo with eye-popping colors, a lot of clarity. It just looks pretty sick. And you know, I definitely gotta shout out that A100 darkroom filter. It is just so good. It gets the photo started on the right foot. Just makes the whole job easier. And that's been my formula for editing my Instagram photos for a long time. If you found this helpful, please don't forget to drop a like on your way out. It really helps the video in the algorithm and I really appreciate it. I also very much appreciate you for watching and hanging out on the second channel. Until next time, take it easy.